Welcome to the Entrepreneurship Center at RPI. You might be interested in the competitions that we offer, particularly the problem competition. If you'd like to enter this competition but don't have a problem in mind, stay tuned. That's what we're going to talk about today. Why are we talking about problems to begin with? In the Entrepreneurship Center, we believe that the best companies are born by those who are solving problems for large groups of people. So that's why we start with problems, and that's why we value them. This is what we see happens when you don't start with a problem, but rather you start with a solution. The idea comes first, then we find students and early stage entrepreneurs starting to build, because building is the fun part. We all like to get our hands dirty and start building something to see results fast. Well, in entrepreneurship, we want to flip things around, because what we see is if you start with your idea, then go to build, then you consider branding and, oh yeah, I need to find a customer for this product, you often find yourself right back at the beginning to find a new idea once you release something into the market and it flops. So with entrepreneurship, what we like to say is start with the idea, but then go to the customer. Make sure that what you're producing, the problem you're solving, is really needed in the market. So we start with the problem first, get some validation, and then we go on to build and actually launch a product. With that in mind, this competition gets you thinking about a strong starting point for creating a business by starting with the problem. You might ask yourself, to try to spark some ideas about problems, who do you want to work with ultimately if you were to start a company? What group of people is interesting to you that you'd like to be around them a lot? That may help. Maybe it's the elderly or young children. Or what about the disabled? Maybe the homeless? When you do find that group that you want to speak to, dig in and ask questions. Ask more questions than you think are needed. People will talk. I want to give you an example here about finding the real problem within a situation. It might not be the problem you discover on the surface of things. Let's say that you're talking to a group of older people and you discover they're complaining a lot about the long lines at the grocery store. You might jump on that and start building a solution that will speed up the checkout process at the grocery store. Or you might think, let's keep asking questions and see if this is a real problem. So upon continuing your inquiry, you find out that, well, the real problem is that the elderly use the bus system to get to and from the grocery store, and the bus has been changing their schedule very randomly. This causes anxiety within the elderly population, and they don't want to miss their return bus. So this proves that there's probably a different problem you should be focusing on, and that might be a communication problem within the bus lines. So as you can see, you have to ask several questions in order to get the actual problem, and that requires some deep listening skills. Another place you can look for problems that need to be solved is at the news outlets. Wherever you view or hear your news regularly, that's where I would tune in. If you're getting it online or watching the television or listening to the radio or podcasts, these are great sources of problems. How about walking into a bookstore? They still sell books and magazines. Go to the magazine section and see what's hot right now. Just start reading the headlines of magazines and you might find some problems that are worth solving as well. There's some other places and tips that I can give you when you're trying to find problems. How about just checking the internet? In particular, there's a website called Answer the Public. You type in a topic and then the search engine will give you a listing of questions that people are asking about that topic. Or you can visit Quora.com. You ask a question and it provides discussions that people are talking about online, or questions that people have asked about this particular topic in different search engines. Also, a real good source of problems is within product reviews. Look at what people are saying about existing solutions and see if there's still a problem that hasn't been solved in that particular category. So let's get back to the competition. The problem competition is a very simple one. We're going to ask you, what is the unsolved problem that you'd like to work on? How big is the problem? And we're talking about like commercial scope and impact when we ask about this question. And why hasn't it been solved yet? Check our website for the submission deadlines, and you're on your way to winning $500 in the problem competition. If you'd like to hear more about the competitions that the Entrepreneurship Center at Rensselaer offers, check us out on Discord or any of our other social media platforms. Now do some legwork and find that problem.